Hello and welcome to another video from earnped.com. I am Stevie B, happy to have you all with us today. So today we are going to be on DSEC 9. I'm going to be doing some hunting while we talk about the post-Mayhem follow-up to let you guys know kind of what I think about the new Mayhem system, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So let's get right to it. First of all, some information on DSEC 9. You'll notice I'm hunting Talus. I'm sure I'm probably not pronouncing that right. And you'll notice that I'm wearing Earthshocker armor, and as you guys know, very, very expensive armor, and it is limited. So why am I wearing this while hunting? Well, cool thing that I like about these guys and why I love to come hunt them is they do only electric and acid damage. They do not do any of the main damages, nor do they do any of the damages that Earthshocker protects against. Therefore, the game sees that I'm wearing Earthshocker and it gives me the buff, but I'm essentially not wearing armor. So when they hit me, they hit hard. Now, I did add electric plates to it, so it does give me a little bit of protection, however, not as much as I would like. I've been using BC50s and LR45s. LR45s seem to be a little bit better because of the range. However, I do like the BC50 better, which is actually what I wanted to come skill. But these things can hit from quite a ways away. So the problem with the BC50 is the shorter range on it means that they get to you a lot faster. They get to that striking distance a lot faster. And when you're essentially not wearing armor, even though you are wearing armor, that's a bad thing. So I'm going to be skilling on these guys to let you guys know if you do come to DSEC 9 and you loot male armor parts and you need female armor parts, I actually have a thread up on the Virtual Sense forum where I am trading the female armor parts that I loot for male armor parts that you might loot. I tend to loot a lot of female and very few male, which obviously I need male. So I am partially doing this because I like this mob, because I'm trying to get the Codex rewards to get my skills up before Christmas Mayhem, partly for the armor because of the upgrade mission, and several other very important reasons. So, why do I like and dislike the new Mayhem system? Well, first of all, let's get into what I like. The fact that it is no longer a competition where people can cheat and win is a great thing. I did love that about it. I am a huge fan of it being a grind fest because essentially the more time you're willing to put in, the better for you. And it doesn't matter if you can cheat. It doesn't matter if you have better gear. It doesn't matter if you have higher DPS. If you're not willing to put in the time, you're not going to get the rewards. So I think that's a good thing for the players and for Mindark. Now, I have heard a lot of people complaining about the rare token drops. I went almost around the clock. I think in the entirety of Halloween Mayhem, there was maybe about 30 total hours that I wasn't running. I was absolutely running on fumes, and I was also dealing with a lot of crap in real life. I know you guys know that I've got some massive BS going on in real life, so I was having to deal with that and deal with Mayhem, yet I still managed to run practically around the clock. Very, very little sleep. In fact, I taught my dog how to hit F so that my dog could run while I slept. She has a cute little headset. It's really cute. So if you tried to message me during Mayhem and you got back something that wasn't in English or that just looked like it was written by a dog, that's because it was. So I literally ran around the clock. And what were my results? Well, I ran Category 6. I did 5 at the beginning. I tested out 4, 5, and 6. And I went into Category 6. And after all that time, I ended up with roughly 7,000 tokens. Yes, Pixie, I know, I'm talking about you because you learned how to play the game. Come here. She wants to sit in my lap. Apparently now, every time I'm logged in, she thinks she needs to play. So, I ended up with about 7,000 tokens, which was way, way less than I expected. The old prize for first place on Category 6 used to be 14,000 tokens. So, I was pretty disappointed with the drop rate of the tokens. I'm not super disappointed with it, but it was not nearly what I was hoping for, given the category that I was in. The rare token drop rate, I think, is appropriate. I did not get a single one, and I think that is more than fair. I think it should be an exceedingly, exceedingly rare thing to get a rare Mayhem token. I don't know what kind of ratio Mindark has it at, but I would imagine you're going to need to grind out a solid 30,000 Mayhem tokens to get one regular rare token. So I would expect that to be close to the right ratio. And the reason being is how many rare tokens you need for the good prizes compared to how many regular tokens. For most of the best prizes, you need 4 of the rare tokens. Well, if you don't already have them, if you did not get them by competing back when it was a competition, it should be more difficult to get them now than it was back then. It just should be. So I anticipate this is going to be one of those things where if you're in the higher category 6, 7, 8, 9, you're probably only going to get 1 rare token every couple of Mayhems. That's good for the economy, that's good for the game, that's good for the players, and that's good for Mindark. So I'm good with that. So I did send them an email, and I did say, hey, as far as Annihilation is concerned, the drop rate was a little bit low, even for Cat 6, especially when the old prize used to be, 14,000 tokens, and I can only grind out 7,000 going around the clock. And that 7,000, that's including the daily mission, that's including the mission rewards from going through the gold track, that's all-encompassing. Now, the box rate I was much, much happier with. I think I ended up with roughly 1,800 boxes. I think I was just shy of 1,800, which is quite a bit. So the box rate, I think, is pretty much still dead on. However, the token rate could have been a little bit better. But overall, not a lot of complaints. I do wish they would have told us the new setup a little bit earlier, because unfortunately, a lot of us that used to compete, a lot of us that took Mayhem very seriously, we were artificially low level when it came to the weapons we were using. Our defense might have been artificially high, but our rifle and our hit and damage skills were artificially low. So had they told us back, at the beginning of summer, hey, this is how we're going to redo the system, we could have spent months skilling up. I've said for a long time now, Mindark wants players to have an average higher skill level. That's why they came out with Codex. That's why they did away with the Iron missions. That's why they created the restoration ships that are limited. And that's why they're redoing events like Mayhem to be the way they are now. So had we known that in advance, we could have skilled up. I would have loved to have been in Category 9. I am now trying to get to where I can skill fast enough to be in Category 9 by Christmas. That is going to be quite a challenge, because obviously it's not going to happen from a defense perspective. Defense does not grow that quickly. If I'm going to be able to pull it off at all, it's strictly going to be from getting my rifle, laser, and BLP skills up to where I can just use higher limited Armatrix weapons, which is exactly what Mindark wants and exactly what I want. So that is part of the reason I'm skilling. Now, one of the areas that I do think they blundered pretty bad when it came to Mayhem for Halloween was when it came to survival. Now, in the old survival system, as I told you guys before, you literally just started the instance and you killed as fast as you could, as many as you could, and around the 45-minute mark, it got impossible. The creatures got so strong that you literally could not take them down. So you had to take off running, which meant that you either had to have a really good FAP, really good armor, or both, right? With lots of defense and lots of pills, lots of medicine pills. So when they changed it, one thing I did like, the one thing they did get right, is when you would complete a stage, it would save it, and then it would take you to the next stage. So if you failed a stage, you didn't have to go all the way back through and start back at stage 1 and try and grind all the way to stage 15. You could just go straight to stage 15 that you failed and try again. That was brilliant, and I think they got that spot on. Where they screwed up, and I've told them this, I sent them an email about this too, is it was too hard from the get-go. Had I been designing it, not even for the player's best interest, but both for the players and for Mindark, I would not have made it even begin to get difficult until around stage 10. At stage 10, it should start getting difficult. At stage 14, it should get really difficult. And at stage 18, 19, and 20, it should have taken a whole lot of effort to make it actually work. That is not what we got. What we got was a survival system that was so brutally hard from the outset that I was on stage 5 using a tier 10 LR45, full reload speed buffs active, armor out the wazoo, and still popping medicine pills, and I could barely get through stage 5. So the way they had it set up, if you didn't have some of the highest DPS in the game, it wasn't even worth trying. I did do stage 6. I got through phases 1 through 9. I captured all 3 checkpoints, and I knew I was going to get slammed on phase 10. I knew it was going to hurt really bad. So instead of even attempting it, I took off running. And I just had the mobs behind me, and I was just popping medicine pills for 15 minutes, which is no cheap thing. Now remember, it's called survival, not kill everything in the instance, right? So I actually ran out the clock for the full 15 minutes, and then it said you failed because you didn't kill the creatures. Well, that's not survival. I survived. I should have finished the stage, right? I survived. It doesn't qualify as survival whenever it doesn't count unless you have to kill everything in the instance. I knew I couldn't kill everything on phase 10, which is why I just took off trying to survive. Had they redone it where the goal was to survive, not to kill everything in the level, I think more people would have done it, and more people would have spent a lot more money on medicine pills. I know I would have been popping them left and right, because even if I didn't have the DPS to kill everything, I could take off running for 15 minutes per phase, 10 phases, 20 stages. It would really hurt my wrist and my fingers, but theoretically, with a big enough bankroll, I could pop enough medicine to probably pull it off and at least get through most of the stages, if not all. It wasn't set up like that. So because of that, if you didn't have really, really high DPS, survival wasn't even worth trying. And this is bad for Mindark, because the more you try, the more money Mindark makes, right? So had they done it the way I would have done it, and made stages 1 through 5 super easy, where even a player 3 months old or less could have done it, and then it finally started getting slightly difficult around stage 10, it would have seemed possible. And I think there's a lot of people, including myself, that would have ran that failed stage over and over and over and over dozens of times, just trying to get to the next one before giving up. As it sits, the way it was so hard. I tried stage 6 the first time. I tried to run down the clock. Clearly that didn't work. Problem is, I used my best weapons to do it, so I went back in with inferior weapons, got to phase 10 again, and because I was on phase 10 with inferior weapons, obviously that wasn't happening. It took me probably 4 or 5 medicine pills just to take down the boss, and at that point, I was out of medicine pills, and there's no way I'm going to spend, thousands of pet on medicine pills just to take down 5 more creatures. And at that point, I was so low on time for the instance anyway, I wouldn't have had enough time to take them all out anyway. So I think they screwed that up pretty good, because not only was it not fun, it was one of those things that was so difficult, it wasn't even worth bothering with. Now, JBK, Bonnie, Eve, Messi, it worked great for them, but it wasn't supposed to be designed for 5 people. It was supposed to be designed for the entire player base, right? And it just wasn't. So I was really, really disappointed with that. Now, one thing that I was kind of surprised by was how slow the points came in Annihilation. Used to, in the old system, when it was a competition, to get a regular 20-hour run-in would get you about 7,000 points. To get a competition run-in 20 hours would get you about 20 to 25,000 points. And running almost around the clock the entire competition, I think I ended up with right at 100,000 points. Let me see here. It looks like the mission's gone. But I think I had right at like 100,000 or just below. So I had just enough points to more or less complete the gold track twice. I expected to have the gold track done in a day and a half to 2 days. It took like 3.5. So I was really, really surprised by how hard the points were to get. Now, obviously, they did say that the higher level you were in, the more often you would get points, and I get that, but it still seemed insanely overkill for what you were doing. Now, that said, again, it is a grind fest, so I know they wanted people to put in a lot of time and a lot of grinding. That was already accomplished. That was going to be accomplished just from people wanting the boxes and the tokens. So, for everybody out there that did it, cool. I know there's a lot of people that did bronze, a lot of people that did silver. I did the gold. The reward was cool. It wasn't great. It's this mask. I think mine's in storage. Yeah, mine's in storage. You got some gold horns and a gold face mask. The mask is armor. It doesn't really do much. It's like 1 point of protection. It's more or less decoration more than anything. So, that said, overall, I give the Mayhem retooling a solid B+. Not an A by any means, but a solid B+. I think Mindark is on the right track, even if they didn't quite nail it on the head. So I did send them an email telling them all my thoughts, which, they couldn't care less what I think. But hopefully they're going to do things to make the system a little bit better for future Mayhems. I really think we're on the right track. I love the new stuff that's in the token vendor. Part of the reason I'm okay with the rare token drop being where it is, I admit I'm biased because I already have plenty of rare tokens, but this will keep the vendor from running out for a very long time. It will mean that you really have to think hard about what you're going to take out of the vendor. You can't just do it all willy-nilly, win 2 or 3 competitions, grab something, win 2 or 3 competitions, grab something. You're really going to have to think hard before claiming a reward. So if you've already got placement tokens that are now the rare Mayhem tokens, you're in an advantage, which is where I am, but now it's a little bit trickier because you really have to think, is this really the prize I want to redeem? Is this really the one I want to go with? Because once those placement tokens are gone that you've got, getting them again is going to be very hard. I imagine that most people who grind 24/7 around the clock, even in category 7, 8, 9, maybe one rare token every 3 Mayhems, 4 Mayhems, something like that. So maybe one a year. I could be wrong. It could be a little bit higher drop rate than that, but I'm not seeing it. So overall, I think Mayhem is really on the right track. I'm excited for Christmas Mayhem simply because it lasts longer. Christmas Mayhem is usually over 30 days long. Now, I do have a lot of real-life stuff going on. So the only thing I'm going to say about it, guys, is please pray. For the love of God, every single subscriber I have, whether you believe in an all-powerful creator of the universe or not, please pray. If you guys want to do anything to help me, that is the one thing I'm going to ask above all. And some of you know what's going on, some of you don't. It's worse than ever. And at this point, I'm literally just waiting for the world to burn down. I'm literally sitting here waiting for the entire world to burn down around me, and I have no clue what I'm going to do when it does. So, just do that for me. However, luckily, with Christmas coming up, my new job is going to give me a schedule where I can run practically around the clock, which is good news. Right now, the hard part is just skilling up. If you were in categories 1, 2, or 3, even 4, you would notice that there was a very low token drop rate. That was by design. Mindark wants you in higher categories. They want you to have higher average skills. They want you using those bigger limited weapons. That's what they want, and that's how they've designed everything. And with Codex, that's super doable. Defense is able to build a lot faster than it used to be. I can definitely say that for sure. Skilling the use of the weapons has never really been the problem. Defense used to more or less be the problem. So when I started Halloween Mayhem, I had just gone from Evader 39 to Evader 40. Like I had just rolled to the 40 mark earlier that morning. I am now Evader 44, I believe. Let's check. Hold on. Yeah, 44.2. So I completed the Codex repeat for Halloween creatures a total of 17 times. Now I was already on 6 whenever it started. I think I was like halfway through 6. So I managed to get through it about 10.5 to 11 times in so many days. So I was more or less getting 1 Codex repeat per day, more or less on average. Whenever you get to repeat 16, 17, it is very, very difficult to complete a Codex repeat that many times. It's very hard. Lots and lots of kills for even the smallest amount of gaining Codex. But it helped tremendously going through those 10.5 to 11 repeats. I was able to gain 4 levels of Evader. I'm at the point now where getting the 7.5 pet of Evade as a reward is only going to be about 1/10 of a level. So it's getting extremely, extremely hard to skill the defense side. That said, the weapon side has always been easy to skill. That was never a problem. Previously, that was the problem that we had, was it was too easy, and that's why we always had to chip out and stay artificially low. Now that we need to be artificially high, it's kind of backwards. That's actually why I'm out hunting, doing what I'm doing at the moment. Now, I'm not just hunting willy-nilly. I specifically picked Talus for a reason. I can use Earthshocker and my reload helmet, which means I can shoot faster than normal. B, the mob is about the right size for the weapons that I'm skilling on, see what they drop. They do drop some pretty good markup loot. There is some TT food crap in there with it. However, they do drop some pretty good markup loot too. And they also drop those armor pieces. And like I said, I need the male. I'm getting a lot of the female. But my goal is to make a perfected set of DSEC 9 armor male at some point. If I can't end up trading the female parts off, I will probably end up making a perfected female set and then selling it off, which will be quite profitable for me whenever I end up doing that. Now, that is going to be a very long time down the road because it takes a grand total of like 232 armor pieces to make one perfected set. And you've got to have the right number of helmets, the right number of thigh guards, the right number of arm guards, yada, yada, yada. And they do not drop quickly. They do not drop often. It's a very slow grind for sure. So I am looking forward to Christmas Mayhem. Annihilation, I expect, will be probably a little bit improved. I think they will probably improve the token drop rate a little. I'm excited to see there be another bronze, silver, gold track mission system like the one that we just used. I don't expect there to be any huge, massive changes. The reason I'm going for Category 9 is Category 9, the mobs are like level 45-ish. Category 10, they're level 83. So the mob danger level literally doubles between Category 9 and 10. And the sheer DPS and time per kill that it would take makes Category 10 almost wholly unprofitable, even for the biggest players. Messi was in Category 9 for that very reason. If you can kill 8 creatures in the same time it takes you to kill 1, why would you bother killing 1, right? So I am hoping to be in Category 9 by then. Might get stuck at 7 or 8. Let's hope it's 9. But my biggest thing is I want to see how they do free-for-all Mayhem with the token drops there, because used to free-for-all Mayhem was a whole different creature. It was unique in the Mayhem universe. It had a lot of economy boost to it, so I really want to see how that goes. And I want to see how they do the secondary competition. The old secondary competition that usually came out at summer and Christmas was a really weird beast. I've had people explain it to me before that knew how to do it. I never could make it work, because essentially the secondary competition for Halloween and Easter is the same. It's a survival type thing. For summer and Christmas, it was this weird thing that required Mind Force and Melee. So the general gist is there would be like 20 Merry Hippodai. I don't know if it's Hippodusses, Hippodus, or Hippodai. One is a Hippodus. So I don't know if many is Hippodusses, Hippodus, or Hippodai. I don't know. But anyway, I always call it Hippodai because I like the word. But there would be like 20 Merry Hippodai, and you would kill that, and that would spawn one giant Hippodai, and then you would kill that, and by killing that Hippodai, it would deactivate a buff on the central Molem mob that would allow you to do damage to it for like 30 seconds. But this thing could only take damage from like Mind Force or Melee, if I remember correctly. And my problem was, this seemed pretty simple. If the instance had 20 creatures in it, I kill it, one creature spawns, I kill it, and then there's the Molem standing over there, and I start doing damage to it. Okay, cool, easy, right? It never worked like that for me. I would go in and start killing the Hippodai, and I could slaughter Hippodai left and right, and then I never could find the Merry Hippodai, and even if I could find the Merry Hippodai, somehow I never could find the Molem. It was just a mess. It was a disaster. How anybody managed to actually figure it out and pull it off is beyond me. And there was also this weird thing where like you had to stay like by fires so as not to freeze, because if you froze, you slowed down. It was just a mess. So one thing I told him was, if it was so hard that the people who have pulled it off and won that competition can explain to you how to do it, and you still can't figure it out, dumb it down a lot before Christmas. Because otherwise you're going to be in the same boat that you were in with survival. It's going to be so ridiculously hard, nobody's even going to try it. And I'm a firm believer of they're on track to make it where everything is good for them and good for the players, which is good for everybody. And that's just good for the community. It did look like there was a lot more sales going on during Mayhem. It looked like materials were a little bit scarce, and therefore there was a little bit higher than average markup, which was fine. I did buy some stuff off auction simply to make things that I needed while supporting my fellow players. Had no problem with that. Overall, I think it was great. I'm really glad to see the way they redid it because it really seems like they're on the right track. I do think had they done survival a little bit differently, people would have tried it over and over and over, which would have resulted in a ton of metastem cells. So that said, I'm happy with it. I will be back with more videos. My goal is to try and just get lost in Entropia because right now I'm literally just waiting on the world to burn down around me. I know it's going to. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it will. And right now, to keep my sanity, I'm just going to try and get lost in the game, lost in making YouTube videos for you guys, and skilling up waiting on Christmas because all I can do is sit here and twiddle my thumbs. And I'm telling you guys right now, you'll know when the world burns because I will just vanish. It will be that bad. This is going to be probably the worst world burning I've ever seen, if I had to guess. So, again, if you guys want to help support us, hop over to earnped.com because when you earn, we earn. That's the best way to support us. If you would like to support me personally, please just keep us in your prayers because it's going to be brutally, brutally bad. I'm already aware of that. And we will see you guys with more content very, very soon. I will be headed back to Cali to hand out some RK0s, do some EarnPed withdrawals, stuff like that in the next couple of days. As of right now, the RK0 competition is still ongoing. I might have to temporarily suspend it. I will let you guys know in a future video before the week is over. Don't want to, but I might have to. More of a Google thing than a me thing. But we will be back with more videos, probably from DSEC 9 shortly. Till then, smack, sip, F the haters. Take care, Stevies.